What's up, guys? Pulvar the Fell-Handed here. I'm hoping the more I play Tiger 131, the less I'm explaining about the Tiger 131 in the early production models versus mid and late, so on and so forth. So, that being said, let's get to gameplay. We are on Siegfried line in counter battle. The greens have spawned on the northern side, the reds have spawned on the southern side. Now, I am kind of examining the area here. I'm hoping I can kind of get some shots early on in the game. I am extremely far back from the mid there, so I'm fairly confident I would be able to fire without being seen, even though I am currently spotted. You can see me scoping the camera around and just looking at the tank all the time in this video. And that's probably going to be happening a few videos from now. Now, I am in a bad position. I had to answer an email right off the gate in this tank in the game, and I am in a very tricky position. The hammer's putting heat on me. I'm not staying stationary long enough to get a good shot in. You have seen me make incredible shots with this tank, especially through the turret of other Tiger tanks. It's just not happening right now on the move. He's pulling out, firing too fast. And if I pulled out, I was also afraid I would be, susceptible to the guys on the opposite hill there. Of course, he was probably at the limits of his sight range anyway. Moving on, you'll notice the Tiger 131 does not back up worth a hoot. This is not one of those tanks you're really going to be able to just zoom in and out of areas. I mean, it does have some decent rearwards acceleration. The top end is just, it's kind of bad. So you need to keep that in mind whenever you are doing your peek-a-boom, you're working a corner type situation. So just be aware that the reverse in this tank is not, it's not amazing. Let's put it that way. It's subpar at best. Now, what this tank is good at is DPM. 4.5 second reload, incredible. You are going to shred most of the tanks you come in contact with, except maybe your Churchills and obviously your captured KV1s if you see them. Not quite sure the captured KV1 would be able to pin this tank, but you know what? Whatever. Moving on. We're just like I'm trying to side scrape there. I was setting up to side scrape, but the issue is there's so many targets. My mind is just rebelling on what exactly I need to do. Shot a guy right there, set him on fire. He's like me, he had an auto. I think I set him on fire. I've got him in a perfect position. We're DPMing each other. And you're seeing, guys, I'm making just little micro movements, and that's what you want to do when you've got somebody hemmed up like that. You don't just want to sit there. Auto lock the turret and just wail away at him. And when it comes down to DPMing another Tiger 131, that was necessarily just skill or bad luck on his part, because as you could see, his turret wasn't actually aimed at me most of the time. So yeah, just lock on, load APCR, and go to town. Now, these things I have had a booger of a time trying to pin. I apologize to the Tiger there. Never lock anybody up, guys, when they're trying to push up. What I have found is an easy pin for these guys is the little baby turrets on the side there. You hit those jokers. I don't even think you need APCR, but you know what? Why not? You've got to use it. Shoot those little guys. You're going to get a pin every time. Now, you will see me switch back to AP. As a big of an advocate as I am of APCR, you don't really need it in this tank. I know, I can't believe I said that either. This tank pins pretty much everything you're going to fight. I mean, obviously, if you're facing your Super Ps or what have you, you want to load AP. Or, I'm not really sure if your standard AP can pin the top of the turret or the sides of the turret or the machine gun port, which is where you want to shoot that tank. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that would do it. I've had luck, but I think at the time I was shooting APCR, so I'm not sure. Haven't really had a lot of experience. That would be something for the training room. Moving on, T67 is just getting wily, just zooming all over the place, making himself, you know, trouble. And those guys are so hard to hit, and it doesn't help that I'm working out the velocity on this gun. And yes, guys, that's something you need to do, viewers, is make sure you understand what the velocity is for each of your shells. And the reason that is so you can time your targets properly. This has totally different velocity than, you know, I mean, you know, if you go from a tier 10 medium to this tank, you're going to be missing a lot of quick moving shots like that. And the reason is because there is totally different velocities. And there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to make up for it in aiming. So just keep that in mind, that, you know, that's something that you're going to have to adjust for. Almost went in the little the little blind alley there, or the little in the alley there. I'm chasing this guy, but at the same time I'm moving up to where I can get shots on these other guys, or at least now that I know where they're at, I can get shots on them. I didn't want to pull out too far. I was kind of afraid I might get shot. I should have pulled out more, but you know what? We ended up getting the kill, so it's fine. Guy's just sitting here. I'm not sure if he's AFK. No, he definitely looks like he's aiming at somebody. As long as he's not aiming at me, I guess that's alright. This one T67 is left, and this guy is just going around this city full throttle, being a nuisance. I don't know if he's actually doing any damage, but he's mainly being a nuisance, and we got to put a stop to it right now, assuming, of course, I can find him. And then the whole time I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I have horrible turret traverse and horrible reverse, hull reverse. So if he gets close to me, I'm in trouble. The only thing I can do is post up in these alleys, and then when he tries to go around me, back up and pin him in, so I can, you know, DPM him. Anyway, it didn't come to that. Luckily, I ended up, you know, auto-locking him and shooting him. I didn't really want to trust myself on the trigger since I'd missed like 3 shots. So I figured, you know, if I stop, let the gun scope in a little bit, it might help. And yeah, we ended up finishing him out. I just kind of sat on the cap, you know, for no reason. Let's just go ahead and get the cap circle running. Anyway, you know, we had a really good game. 38-25, 722 assists, 220 block damage. Not really blocking loads of damage with this tank, but you know what? We just got it, so we may later. Guys, thanks for watching.